So get this. India has officially zoomed past Japan to become the world's fourth largest economy. Can you believe it? Just a few years ago, this would have sounded like a plot from a sci-fi movie. But here we are, in 2025, and it's real. The world is definitely changing, and fast. This isn't just a small shuffle, it's a major economic earthquake, folks. Remember Japan Inc? Back in the day, they were the undisputed champions of making cool stuff. Sony Walkmans, Nintendo, Toyota cars, Japan was the future. Now, India, a country that, let's be honest, was often in the news for very different reasons, has stepped onto that same podium. It's a massive shift in the global pecking order. It's like watching your quiet cousin suddenly become a rock star. This isn't just some dry statistic that economists get excited about. No, this is a story. It's a story about a nation of over 1 billion people, a nation with incredible diversity, and a nation that's been on a serious economic hustle. So, buckle up, because this economic roller coaster is just getting started. Alright, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the numbers, because as they say, numbers don't lie. As of early 2025, India's gross domestic product, that's the fancy term for the total value of everything made in the country in a year, has climbed to an estimated $4.7 trillion. Yes, trillion, with a T. That's like a lot of money. Enough money to buy a small moon, maybe. Now let's look at Japan. Japan's GDP in 2025 is estimated to be around $4.4 trillion. So you see, India just managed to edge ahead. It's like winning a race by a nose, a very, very rich nose. This isn't just a blip. It's a trend that many economists saw coming. But it's still a huge moment. The student has, in some ways, overtaken the master. So, India is now sitting at the big table, the fourth largest economy globally, right behind the heavyweights, the USA, China, and Germany. That's some serious company to keep. But what's fueling this Indian cheetah? Is it just a burst of speed, or is there something more sustainable powering this incredible economic engine? So what's one of India's biggest secret weapons? It's not a weapon at all, actually. It's people. Millions and millions of young people. India is currently experiencing what fancy economists call a demographic dividend. Basically, it means they have a massive youth population. A huge chunk of their citizens are young, energetic, and ready to work. Think of it like having a sports team where most of your players are in their prime. That's a huge advantage in the global economic game. While many developed nations, including Japan, are grappling with aging populations and shrinking workforces, India is overflowing with youth. More young people mean more hands to build things, more brains to innovate, and more wallets to buy things. This isn't just a small detail, it's a fundamental driver of India's economic dynamism. This youth bulge is a golden opportunity. It means a potential for decades of growth, fueled by this young workforce. And this is a big, but this dividend isn't automatic. It's not just about having a lot of young people, though that helps. The Indian government has also been pretty busy trying to make the country a better place to do business. Think of it as a massive decluttering effort for the economy. They've been rolling out reforms, slashing red tape, or at least trying to, and simplifying the notoriously complex tax system. The Goods and Services Tax, GST for example, was a huge step towards creating a single national market. It's like taking a tangled mess of wires and trying to organize them neatly. Then there's the big push for Make in India. The government is basically shouting from the rooftops, "Hey world, come build your factories here. We've got the people, we've got the market." Alongside this, there's a huge drive towards digitalization. From digital payments to online government services, India is leapfrogging in many areas. This makes things more efficient and transparent, which businesses generally love. Less paper, more progress. Section 5. Playing the world stage. India's geopolitical edge. India's economic rise isn't just happening in a bubble. The world around it is also changing, and India is playing its cards pretty smartly on the global stage. Geopolitics, folks. It sounds complicated, but it's basically about how countries get along or don't, and how that affects everything else, including money. Right now, many global companies are rethinking their supply chains. You've probably heard of the China Plus One strategy. Businesses don't want all their eggs in one basket, and India is emerging as a very attractive plus one. India has been actively strengthening its relationships with major global players, the United States, countries in Europe, Australia, Japan itself. It's part of various international alliances and is increasingly seen as a significant democratic power in Asia. This isn't just about leaders shaking hands and posing for photos. These relationships lead to trade agreements, foreign investment, and collaboration on technology. It's like making new, influential friends who can help you out. Section 6. Meanwhile, in Japan, a different economic story. So, while India's star is rising, what's been happening with Japan, the country it just overtook? Well, Japan's economic story has been a bit different for a while now. They've been wrestling with some tough challenges for like decades. We're talking about very slow economic growth, something called deflation, which is when prices keep falling, and believe it or not, that's generally bad for an economy, and a population that's getting older and smaller. That's a tricky cocktail of problems for any country to handle. Japan had its own miracle period after World War II. They rebuilt from scratch and became an economic titan, famous for innovation and quality. Sony, Toyota, Nintendo, these names conquered the world. But since the early 1990s, their economy kind of hit a wall. It's like a star athlete who had an amazing career but is now dealing with injuries and can't perform at their peak anymore. They are still a very rich and advanced country, make no mistake, but that explosive growth phase is long gone. The aging population is a really big deal for Japan. When you have more old people than young people, your workforce shrinks. Section 7. Hold on, not so fast. The per capita reality check. Okay, so India is number 4 in the world by total GDP. That's huge. Time to break out the fireworks and party, right? Well, hold on a second. There's another important number we need to look at, and it tells a slightly different story. It's called per capita GDP. That's the total GDP divided by the number of people in the country. And when you look at that, India's picture changes quite a bit. It's like having a giant cake, but you have to share it with over 1.4 billion people. India's per capita GDP, even in 2025, is still quite low. We're talking somewhere around $3,000 to $3,500 per person per year. Now compare that to Japan. Even with its economic struggles, Japan's per capita GDP is way up there, over $35,000. And countries like the US are even higher. Section 8. Building a better tomorrow, infrastructure and inequality. Beyond the per capita numbers, there are other big mountains India still needs to climb. Let's talk about infrastructure. Yes, new highways are being built, shiny airports are popping up. It's impressive. But the scale of India is just mind-boggling. Many cities are still choked with traffic, public transport can be a nightmare, and the logistics of moving goods can be slow and expensive. It's like trying to upgrade from a bicycle to a sports car, but half the roads are still dirt tracks. Then there's the issue of inequality. This is a big one. Economic growth is great, but who is benefiting the most? In India, like in many parts of the world, a small percentage of the population holds a very large share of the wealth. Meanwhile, a huge number of people are still struggling to make ends meet. This gap between the haves and the have-nots is a serious concern. Section 9. The road ahead, India's future. Bright but bumpy. So, what does the crystal ball say for India's economy? Well, if you listen to the experts, the general forecast is pretty optimistic. Many economists believe India is well on its way to becoming the world's third largest economy. Some say it could overtake Germany in just a few years, maybe by 2027 or 2028. Imagine that. The momentum is clearly there. That young population we talked about, they're still a huge driving force. It's like India has a strong wind in its sails. But, and there's always a but in these stories, this isn't a done deal. It's not like India can just put its economy on autopilot and cruise to number 3. Sustaining this high growth requires a lot of things to go right. They need to continue with economic reforms, even the tough ones. They need to massively invest in education and healthcare to make that demographic dividend truly pay off. And crucially, they need to create millions of good jobs every year for all those young people entering the workforce. The world will be watching India very closely. Its success story is important not just for Indians but for the entire global economy.